I think about how like we were gonna get out May 28th. I don't know what time y'all were gonna get out.
I want to say May 22nd, maybe around that time.
Okay, so our go back to school day is May 4th. Do you think that you'll be able to get any procedures back into place, or get your kids together in that time period to do anything worth doing?
Can I be honest with you? If I was in that position, I wouldn't go back. Just being honest. Me
I
personally,
mean,
as a professional, as an educator, and I love my kids. I love what I do. I'm not going back.
but I'm saying even if there were no more germs, let's in a perfect scenario that wiped all the germs clean. Do you think that it would be successful for us to send students back to school?
No, because think about it. The beginning of the school
There's
year.
no
Yeah,
testing,
yeah,
testing's canceled, and I teach an exit level grade.
right.
They haven't been waking. My kids, we do Zoom at 11 o'clock every morning.
Yeah,
They've been waking up at 11 o'clock. Like,
yeah,
you can tell, like,
yeah.
their
Still
face
crust
is
in their eyes.
not.
What's going on? Yeah, yeah, yep.
Do you think that it would be worth going back to school?
It's not. And that's why, as a professional, if like, look, y'all can decide whatever y'all want to decide. Look, last time I seen my kids was on March 13th, and I've heard a lot of this, just period in education. Um, I don't work with, I've heard people say I don't work with affluent kids. My kids need to get back to school. That actually was a debate in one of my group meets in my cohorts for grad school. Like two of my colleagues got into, I don't want to say an argument, but like a debate where one of them was saying like, look, I work in a poor school district. These kids need to be in school. They need to be working on their skills. It's like, okay, I understand that perspective. And then the other perspective was, well, I don't get a chance to work with affluent kids. So, maybe it's good that they stay home. And then I was thinking, I didn't get a chance to chime in because I was just listening, just paying attention. But I work with affluent kids. Those kids, and before the kids I work with now, I work with gifted kids, intellectually gifted kids in Apex. And so working with both of those groups, pretty much the same. You've got kids who are intrinsically motivated. You got kids who are extrinsically motivated, which a lot of that
Hmm.
comes from home, right? Whatever their parents
Oh, for
are,
sure.
they compromise with them, and here are some positive consequences. Here are some negative consequences if you don't do what you're supposed to be doing while you're in school. And whatever the motivation is for the kids, we've got low performers. We've got serious underachievers. I've got eighth graders who struggle severely with writing to the point they shouldn't be in high school. That's how much they struggle with writing, which also goes to, and thinking of literacy, their reading skills. Because if you're, okay, you can read it, okay, you can decode it, but can you truly comprehend? Can you truly
Yeah.
comprehend what's going on? Because if you can't truly comprehend what's going on, then you shouldn't have such an issue with the writing piece. Like they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And I'm not afraid to say I've got rich, well-off, wealthy students who should not be promoted to the next grade, or they need tutoring. And I offer tutoring. They need more tutoring. They need more time. And so across the scale, I would say all of these kids need to be in school. All of these kids need to
Yeah.
be working on their skills. But because
And
of
that's,
what's... Mhm.
sorry, that I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
But that goes right into my point of, so saying the kids at my private school a lot more motivated, and the kids that struggle more, I would say, it's due to lack of parental motivation at home,
Yeah,
or it's a lack of something. But across the board, all kids need to be in school because your brain is a muscle. If you're not working that muscle, it's getting weak. And that's facts. Um, but it's against the law for you not to be in school, right, every
right,
day
right,
during the normal school year. You get a
right.
truancy, you got to go to court. Um, and so that's where my big, like, okay, I don't want to have to hold kids accountable in this time because it's a crazy time, but also they would have to be there anyway. So like not participating is not an option if you unless you
Right.
have a reason. Unless you've communicated that reason to me, then I need to be seeing you. I need to make sure you're good. And I know it's not my job to do welfare checks on my kids, but I feel like it's my job.
Right.
I feel like it's something, even if I'm not getting paid to do it, I want to make sure they're good because they're my kids. And it's hard to hear, well, technically they don't have to participate or they don't have to do this because I have to do all these things. I need to be making sure that they're okay. Then I need you to hold them accountable to respond back to me,
Right.
to know that, okay, even if you're not doing the work and they're not holding you accountable for the work, let us know you're safe.
Exactly. So let me hit you with a hypothetical situation. So regardless of what we've been hearing, because nothing has been consistent. Um, let's say COVID-19, the pandemic, and the accompanying quarantine go all the way until fall. And we've already seen some colleges and universities be proactive, and I don't know why that's such a difficult concept and practice to follow, but proactively saying, hey, our doors won't be open for fall. We're still open, but everything's going to be on Canvas or Blackboard. Everything's online. Like there will be no face to face. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, this thing goes on until fall, and we've discussed a lot of the issues already with distance learning. What needs to change? What needs to occur in order for learning and effective teaching to actually happen? Or is it possible it can happen if this thing stretches out longer than any of us want it to?
And I've been thinking about that from the elementary standpoint and also the high school standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know exactly where I'll be next year.
Mm-hmm.
But so let's say that I stay where I am. We had a conversation in our PLC yesterday about how if we had older leadership, because when I came in, we got a new principal. They were saying we would be on the news right now if we had our old staff. Like if we had the old administration, we would be on the news because of how unorganized this is and how people are not getting their needs met. And so unless over the summertime they're able to incentivize teachers to get into trainings and stuff, and learn, this is the new way of doing things, and this is a standardized way that everybody's going to do it, but still give you the freedom, obviously, to be a teacher. Don't insult my intelligence and think that I need to watch you read a PowerPoint, because that's what's going on in a lot of the trainings. Like, sweetie, I can read because I teach kids how to read. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
If we can get real training and make this feel competitive again, then I think that it would be awesome to see where things could go. Because I hate to say that what we have going on right now doesn't work, but it doesn't work. Kids do really well for me because I try to bring the younger perspective into things, and maybe incorporating more technology, whether it's forceful and we don't really want to, but we have to or not, like that might be what's best for our kids right now. Because like you said, it's about trying to switch them from being consumers to being producers. You want to have this next generation be a part of a workforce. I feel like I was the first generation to where my education did not prepare me at all. Like one of my very best friends, she went to school for advertising, and she was in limbo for like the last 2 or 3 years because the degree that she got was based off of old stuff. Who watches regular cable TV on the regular basis anymore? Or who's doing the things that we used to do growing up? That was a part of our life, like sitting down, like even being on the phone with your friends, being like, "Did you watch that last night? Or did you see that?" That was a big deal for us. And now there's so many places for kids to be online. There's not a lot of solidarity. There's not a lot of them doing the same thing. So she is just not getting to like social media marketing and different things, and advertising that way and teaching people how to brand themselves. And she's like, "Wow, my education didn't prepare me, but I finally found my niche." But I don't want this next generation to be in the same hole that we were if we can
Right.
prevent that. And these
Right.
older teachers are like, "This is what's worked for 15 years, and this is what's going to continue to work." And I'm like, "Okay, Karen,
Right.
like, what do you want me to? I don't know how to explain it to you because you have your American dream. You and your husband have been married for 30 years, and y'all live in y'all's house, y'all's 2 cars, and that's
Right.
what y'all wanted. But these kids don't want that. That's
Right.
not their future."
Right.
Um,
So every school regardless of if it's Title One or not. They're supposed to be following a model of what's it called, continuous school improvement. Okay, and so typically with continuous school improvement, I don't know if you've ever in your 3 years, have you ever had to work on a committee for that plan that you have to put together?
Uh, so yeah, I'm not in the committees, but our team leaders always like report back to,
Okay,
and we have like CLTA, CT, in this district. My other district they had different acronyms, but
right,
basically same thing.
yeah.
Um,
And so typically, principals, it's kind of like the observation process for a lot of schools and districts. It's a dog and pony show. So they put together these 50
oh,
page plans that the principal's really doing well. Depending on the principal, a lot of them are doing the grunt work, at least as far as putting it actually together. The smarter ones, they know how to delegate and come up with committees and teams to focus on each area, and then they all put it together. But it's like 50 pages or more. It's like I won't say a dissertation, but like a thesis on like, this is our primary learning goals, learning objectives based on our data, and this is what we're going to do over the next 3 years or the next 5 years. This is how we're going to improve. And I mean, it's not real. And so when you talk about professional learning and instructional technology, I work at an Apple certified school. I also used to work for Apple. I also was in a doctorate program for a year in instructional design technology. So I know what instructional technology is supposed to be and how it's supposed to be used. If you see me teach, you would be like, he is an awesome English teacher, and if I have a kid or I had a kid, I would want him to be my teacher. But the one thing you won't see a lot of, I don't use a lot of technology. I don't. I use it when it matters. I use it when it matters. I never want to be that teacher that's just having, and my students are one-on-one. It's a one-on-one school. They have their
yeah,
iPads. I don't have to teach you using your iPad. They want me to teach you using your iPad, but I don't have to. If I'm going to have you use your
yeah,
iPad, it's going to be, again, that switch from consumer to producer. If you're not just
you're
creating a
creating something.
PowerPoint because it looks good. If you're creating a PowerPoint, it's for, how can I explain this? It's not just like, it can't just be surface level. Like creating a PowerPoint has
Yeah,
to
that's a
be like
part of a bigger
authentic.
project. Yeah,
Yeah. If When I think about using a PowerPoint, I think about preparing kids for college, grad school, their careers. So maybe I will come up, and I'm just freestyling this. Maybe I will come up with an assignment where the students would have to study something, whatever that content is, and they will have to present it as if they were going for a grant. Okay, so maybe they're going for a grant. Like
hmm.
it had to be like something authentic that they would actually use in like real
Real.
life, right? Like outside of school, and I think they call that authentic learning. That's what I use technology for. It's got to be authentic. I don't want you using your iPads and using the latest app just because, I don't want you using
It's
Flipgrid just to use
convenient.
Flipgrid. Yeah, just because it's cool. And I'll tell you, at my
Yeah.
school, which is so annoying, they use the technology just so they can get featured on a pamphlet, and it's like a raffle, and you can like win like Chick-fil-A for a week, and
Yeah,
like
I agree. I agree.
and 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 I do understand part of it was us part of the process of becoming Apple certified, and Apple has been there and presented us with certificates and stuff like that. And I'm just like, some people are using this the right way, other people are using this just for the dog and pony show. Like it's even a part of our
And
state
to make life
rubric.
too.
Have you
Mhm.
so in Texas, what and I'm sure it's probably some acronym, what rubric are you guys evaluated off of? What is it called?
It's called T-Test in Texas, and it's newer. So I've been evaluated twice. This is my second time because
Hmm.
my first year I didn't get evaluated because you're still probationary. I was getting evaluated by my alternative teaching certification people my first year.
Sure.
Second year I got evaluated, and then this year I'm getting evaluated in the elementary setting. And I did really well. I was proficient or accomplished, and those are like the higher end of the spectrum. And it's basically like you said, the horse and pony show. If you want it to be that way, a lot of my mom's an educator. I have a lot of family members that are educators, and they're like, "When is your observation? Are you worried? Do you have everything you need?" And I don't know if it's me coming from the athlete standpoint or because I came in coaching first, but I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm just gonna do what I always do, like,
Yep. That's how it
because
should
if
be.
my kids because if my kids are gonna act the way that I want them to
Yep.
act, I have to do what I normally do.
Yep.
So a lot of times when I have observations, I do my regular station labs that I have. I make sure that we're hitting all 5 E's of learning.
Right.
Make sure my kids are up around the room because fifth graders, what do they say? Kids' attention spans are their age in minutes.
Yeah,
So my
definitely.
kids are
So
about
yeah,
10 to 12 years old.
yeah.
So
So
I have
direct
about 10-minute
instruction.
stations.
Yeah, your direct instruction can't be much longer than 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
I just walk
same.
around with all the groups and I ask them questions and while they're doing the stations and they love it and I'm not making it to where each station is so hard to set up to where I have to be a maniac around the room, but it's really just so that I can like probe them and ask, I'm giving you this lesson in about 8 different ways. So if you don't figure it out this station, you don't get it. Let's go to the next station and see if you get it there. Obviously, they're gonna get the answers because they're working with the group, but it's just how are you absorbing it? What do you absorb it best? So that way I can kind of check that off, and I know that Colby over here learns a lot differently. So I know that he got it. It just took him until the fifth station to get it, and his classmates might have gotten it at the third station. That's
Right.
okay.
Right.
And it kind of also helps me to be able to pull out those kids that I need to from different groups if maybe they weren't grouped correctly, and I can, hey, would you three want to walk with me? Like, you want to talk with me and figure out how we can get y'all through this? Um, and how are we going to do that online? I know that in Zoom you can put people into breakout sessions and stuff.
Right.
I'm not sure that you can monitor all of those sessions though.
Hmm.
So they might switch to talking about Minecraft while I have them in the session.
Right.
I don't know about it
Right.
until the meeting's over because it's recorded, right? But I want to be able to. How do you probe those kids and then also make sure that the kids are answering the questions and not the parents? I don't want to put you on the spot.
Right.
So right now we're learning in Zoom that hey, can you unmute yourself and answer this question? And then there's crickets, and you're like, okay, Johnny, do you want Abby to help you?
Right.
It's just this weird awkward time, and if we can figure out how to put it together and make it work, like, it could be really cool. Again, like I said earlier, but I'd rather have in class instruction. I think kids, as much as they like being on the computer and having fun and stuff, that's extra for them. They want to be around you. They want to be like you. You sell education to these kids. You sell even if they don't want to be what a teacher when they grow up. They're looking up to you and they're like, "Wow, he
Yeah.
really is putting us on right now."
Right.
It's not just the curriculum; it's the life lessons that you're able to give. Like you said, I don't really have discipline problems, and I teach them in a rough place. And people always wonder, oh, or they say it's because you're a coach, and I'm like, no, it's just because I just like with adults, I'm gonna teach you how you're gonna handle me, and you can do the same. You can show me how you would like to be handled. Otherwise, I'm gonna
Yeah.
handle you accordingly.
Yeah.
And so online, how do you hold kids accountable to, there's kids
Yeah.
on the very first Zoom meeting, they were writing on the screen,
Hmm.
annotating the screen. They were typing crazy things in the chat, and I had to we need to relax
Yeah.
off of that.
There
And
is no,
and parents,
as far as I know, there is no book on classroom management for distance learning. Because typically, distance learning has been for adult learners. Your college and grad school and professional school learners. So there is so. I,
have you thought about the kindergartners right now?
oh
The
yeah,
kindergartners are have to be online
crazy.
all day.
And that's that age group where they have to be face to face. Like, yeah, yes,
You
those
learn
kids
through
can
play.
use iPads and tablets and stuff like that, but again, it's very surface level. We want them to be producers, but they're not even at that point because the whole purpose of because you teach fifth grade, I'd say K-5, and I'm just thinking from a literacy standpoint, and I'm sure it's the same with mathematics and science and everything else. Is that's the foundation. So if you need to build the foundation, we can't even be doing all this extra stuff. Like, we shouldn't be attempting to do this extra stuff. We have to build your foundational
Yes.
skills, and then 6 through 8 is supposed to be building on that. And then of course, once you get to high school, 9 through 12, that's when things become more about
Like applied knowledge.
yeah, yeah. If I'm thinking of either Bloom's taxonomy or Webb's depth of knowledge, that's where you really get into applying and synthesizing things and dealing with more abstract concepts and ideas. But again, to the point that you made earlier with the professional learning, so I'm pretty sure on that rubric that you guys use in Texas, because I know it's in Tennessee and probably every state, they want educators using the instructional technology. A principal wants to walk into the classroom and see kids on iPads and tablets, especially if they spent a lot of money or got a grant and everybody got those tools for learning. But I just feel like there's so much assumed and misapplied because we don't have real professional development. And since I entered the teaching field, I entered this professional education, I've always been complaining about not POCs necessarily, but faculty meetings and professional development, because everything
Making sure it's worth
that's
your time.
yeah, everything that's in the research about what that's supposed to be, again, to that continuous school improvement model, it's supposed to be continuous training for us on the same topic. I know,
Agree.
I know we're all super smart. I know a lot of us are walking around with 3, 4, 5 degrees. That's all fine and dandy. I love it. But you're giving me something that's really, really important, and you're giving it to me in a surface level, and you're giving it to me in one training. You don't follow up. There is no continuous support. You might email whoever the presenter is. I might get the PowerPoint back later, but where's the real resources? The PowerPoint can't
Yeah,
be the resource. Like you said before, don't read the PowerPoint to me. I can read myself. The PowerPoint is just
exactly.
supposed to make it more engaging for adult learners to grasp hold of that information, but it needs to be more than just one. So,
Like chunked into series, and or like,
exactly.
but I think that it should be to where we can sign up for whatever training, and that's our training for the year.
Hmm.
And your teammates can do other trainings.
Hmm.
That way we can put
It
each
should be
other on training.
differentiated. It should be
Yes,
differentiated.
for your learning style as an
Exactly.
adult. And I'm coming, and I always say that when I'm in training, say I learn a little bit differently. I'm going to be honest, like I wasn't the best student because chemically I'm just a little bit different than everybody else, and I
Right.
didn't realize that until after I stopped playing sports in
Hmm.
college.
Hmm.
So I went through school and just figured it out, but my brain was everywhere.
Right.
Versus these kids are already diagnosed, and I know what they deal with because I deal with it too, so I can help them right now.
Right.
But the way you're framing things, I can't help them. The way
Right.
you're giving me this stuff and how you're telling me to feed it to them, I can't help them this way because that's not how they learn best.
Right.
Is so I've tried to figure out ways to use technology without actually using technology.
Right.
Mostly because coming down to this school, we don't even have 1 to 20
Right.
until now. So my kids had one desktop computer that didn't even have a mouse this year in my classroom.
Hmm.
And so I was like, on the TSAS, it says, or on the rubric, it says that you have to utilize technology or you showing how you use technology. And it goes from like some students to many students to all students are doing these different things. And I'm like, how am I going to get all students? So I like to utilize things like clickers to where I know I'm getting a
Clickers
quick
is
check.
good. Yeah.
Kids love it because it feels so techy, but they're really just holding a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I love clickers. Clickers is
and
good.
then animating my PowerPoints for the day. Like whenever you walk in the classroom, everything's already on that PowerPoint, whether it be the warm up or whatever. It's interactive. It has a timer on the screen. All the things that I could use other pieces of technology for, I try to put it into just one thing, make it quick and easy for me. But the kids are still getting that, like, we're not really using technology, but we are, I
Right.
guess, energy. So that way they get that little like, oh, we got to do something fun today in class, but I'm still right here. We're right
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know how I'm going to be able to be right here and assess kids as much as I want to, with how we are, with what we're moving towards. And I really would like to figure it out because, like I said, I think that it's really cool that we can utilize this and hey, go like even on the Padlets. I don't know if you use Padlet, but I'm like, hey, go ahead, take a picture of something in your house that's artistic and post it in the Padlet. We're giving a sentence about that, helping kids to see what they have in their own home that they can learn from, but also how are we going to get that everybody tactile like feel of learning? So whether
Yep.
it be like the school sending out boxes for labs, but who's going to monitor them while they do these labs? Like, is it going to be to where they can figure it out themselves? Like I really would like to figure it out, or I would like to talk to somebody that's developing curriculum for this right now because I want to get my kids' needs put out there. Um, I guess that's something that you could poll teachers about. I don't know,
Yeah.
but really, what are some things that we can do to get their resources that we know that they need into the home with them? Um, because everybody claims they don't have enough resources um, to pay for it while they're in the classroom, or
Yeah.
I guess in my situation. So how can we get to them at home so that way I can give them what they need and kind of rig it the way I usually rig it, because I can't rig it from the computer screen if they're just now learning how to use a computer, you know?
You brought up a really interesting point, and I'm curious to know. And this is just a statement. This isn't a question. When I think about curriculum companies and assessment companies and whatnot, I wonder what is their reaction right now to how everything is going on. And I wonder, is there a curriculum company out there or assessment company that is putting together resources? I think there are online platforms who, again, they're online or digital, so they maybe trying to adjust, because you probably get the emails like I get emails from stuff that I've used online, so they're trying to respond to this. But I wonder, is there like a company out there that's like will homeschooling boom as a market
Yeah.
because
Like, is
of
there a rat
this?
race to get these? Yeah,
Will
I
there
want to know.
be? I'm just thinking, will more parents push for homeschooling, um, because maybe they're scared of sending their kid back to school in fall 2020, and
I
how
think
does
it's going to
that?
be.
Yeah.
So I think I hear what you're saying, especially coming from the school that you work at and the area that you work in. I think that's going to be a concern for those parents. Yes, my parents, on the other hand, my elementary parents, I don't think that's even an option because
Right.
I mean, you've seen the funny Facebook things. Like I found out that it wasn't the teacher, like it was my kid, or
Hmm.
the work schedule hasn't changed for them. They're essential workers, so it's like, and then also, can they afford it? Is it something that's going to be provided to them because they don't even want to pay for the 88-cent notebook, or maybe they can't, or it's like I don't want my kid at home on the computer without me being there, and I have to
Right.
work all day. So I think it's going to depend on the socioeconomic status,
Yeah.
and I don't know, and I agree. I think curriculum companies would be in their best interest to be in the rat race right now to figure out how we can reach these kids and get them what they need. But digital learning is going to be like pulling teeth right now. I think for to keep them engaged, I've already had kids drop off. I've already had parents say, "Hey, I don't think this is for us." I'm like, "That's not an option, is it? Is that an option?"
Right.
Like, I'm asking the principal, "Can they just
Yeah.
say this is not for them?" And they said, "Yeah, we could just give them a packet." And so they've created packets for the until the end of the year for some students to do,
Yeah.
and they don't participate in online learning. And we also aren't grading those packets,
Right.
um, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want those packets delivered to my door from
I
God
don't.
knows whose house. I'm
Uh-uh.
not touching it.
How has the pandemic affected you career wise? And what I mean by that, not necessarily that you have, and you kind of spoke on it already, because now you don't know like what's going on as far as shifting to your new school. How the pandemic affects that. But has there been like any conversations you've had with like friends and family, or even just internal, like where you've started to consider, I don't want to say an alternate path or a different profession, but what are those conversations you've either been like kind of internally having or having with other people about your profession?
No, for sure. I've been thinking. Obviously, I think that everybody has at the back of their mind like
Yeah, definitely.
what's about to happen to education.
Hmm.
But I mean, I'm here in education as long as it serves me and it serves people that I'm here to help. But I've been even before this. The plan was, you got to go ahead and expand to what you do anyways. What are the things that you're good at without getting paid to do them? And so I have a few hobbies and things that I'm about to. make available to more than just my friends and family. I know I took off a year to do the fitness stuff, and I learned a lot about traditional Chinese medicine and more natural ways to help people understand the body. And I think it's gonna be great to have this little bit of extra time to be able to work on that and to be able to send people the things that they've been asking me for, and like not have to worry so much about like, hey, I have a mountain of like papers to grade. I'm not gonna get to your meal plan today, but I could do it later. Like I have time to do this. I've actually pumped out a lot of cool stuff, and I think it'd be great to use this time to not only educate my kids, because you can only give them so much right now, but to educate people who want to be educated that are even adults. So yeah, I'm definitely looking to different ways to expand myself, and maybe that this is like another industrial revolution, but maybe not as industrial. It could be a really creative time. It could be a time that not only our students become producers, but we become producers.
Definitely, yeah. And on this podcast, I always preach like side hustles. Like that's just one thing that's just known by educators. Like, look, we're super intelligent, super smart, super creative. Like I know you got some other passions, you have some other things inside of you. Like use those passions and those skills to create some income and to have an impact outside of the classroom. So yeah, this is definitely a time where someone's
monetize your gifts.
Yeah, someone's.
Thank you for listening to the Black Scholars Podcast. For more information, go to blackscholarspublishing.com.